Alright, so I want to talk about being intentional about your practices, right? So, from gaining clientele, keeping clientele, pricing, the way you schedule, your preferences, and how you do any and everything you do in this industry, right? So, what I mean by being intentional about, let's say, even gaining clientele, right? So, when you go out to speak to people, give out a business card, and interact with that person for the first time, before you even approach that person, when you see that person, you should already understand, I'm not just giving this card to a random individual. This is someone I want to actually be a client of mine. I want to cut this person's hair for every single event they may have coming up in life, or whatever the case is, right? Their hair type should be a hair type that you prefer to cut or can cut or want to cut really well, right? So you want to give them a service that will have them coming back. So you should be very intentional about approaching someone that you want to be your client. That is an intentional interaction. That way it's not just a random, like, hey, I'm a barber, here's my business card, and you just walk off. That's not intentional by any means, and 9 times out of 10 that person is gonna forget who you are almost immediately, if they even keep that business card at all, right? So, and then from the steps of, let's say you're in the shop and walk-ins come in. When walk-ins come into my barbershop, I intentionally ask every single time, hey, do you have an appointment? That's the first question I ask every single time. And there's a few reasons that I ask that. One, just for clarification to the barbers that are in the shop, whether or not this person is a walk-in, or to let them know that their client is here if they're not paying attention to the door, right? So that's one. Two is if they are a walk-in and this is their first time in the shop, I want to, at least to what I think I'm doing, I can't understand exactly how everyone's brain is working because I'm spitting something out, right? So I ask that question to reiterate the importance of having an appointment, because I prefer the shop to operate mostly on an appointment basis, because that gives everyone the freedom to go do whatever it is they may need to do throughout the day. So if I know for sure people are habitually booking appointments and I need to go do something, whether it be make a store run or get some supplies or some personal errands that need to be ran, I have a gap that I can go do that because I don't have an appointment in that slot, instead of me being locked in the shop all day, right? Or picking a random time to do it and wondering if I'm gonna miss anything or not. So I prefer to operate off appointments for that reason. So I try and make it seem more important to the people who come here for the first time, right? Even when people first walk into the shop, the first thing they see on the screen that I have in front of the shop is book your appointment here, right? Even if you're a walk-in, you see that, and I ask, do you have an appointment? You've now come across the significance of having an appointment 3 times, actually, because on the front door it says by appointment only. That's only for Sunday, but for some reason people seem to see it as it encompasses the entire week. I don't care. So I'd rather you book an appointment anyway. So, but again, that's something intentionally thought out and intentionally put in place in hopes to produce a result, right? And then just from there, every step being intentional is pretty critical, right? So the way I even have my appointment listing structured, right? The way I respond to any client about pretty much anything, everything I do is absolutely with intent and a full-on thought process behind it, right? So even when a client calls me last minute about anything or asks me about a schedule a couple days out, I'm not discussing my schedule with you days out or for tomorrow, or look at my schedule, book your appointment, because I don't want anyone to build the habit of calling me to have me book their appointment when I've set up all of these things to make sure that my appointment booking process is seamless, easy, straightforward, and you get what you need and I get what I need. You book an appointment, your appointment is booked for me, and I don't have to do all these extra steps to figure out if you have the availability, if I have the availability, what time works for you, what time works for me, and all this back and forth, 4, 5, 6, however many messages to get to the final goal of booking the appointment, versus you looking at the schedule, already having their schedule in mind, what times they're able to actually come get a haircut or not. So, intentional, right? And even the way I do a haircut for a first time client is extremely intentional. So I had another first time client, I want to say Friday, and it was super simple haircut. He just had a beard lineup, and I like to face my clients toward the mirror, especially the first time I cut them. Face them toward the mirror so that they can see themselves, and I ask them a question for every step of the haircut of what their preference is. Do you want this faded? Do you want this arch? Do you want this at this height? Do you want this thinner? Do you want to keep this full? Every single step, so that they're involved in the haircut. For one, that takes all of the guesswork out of the haircut, so I'm producing essentially exactly what they're telling me that they want, right? And at least at the end of the haircut, we're likely to be closer to what they imagined as the end result than if I were to just go in and just do what I thought was the haircut that they wanted, right? Because some people genuinely just don't know, terms and whatnot when it comes to being in the barber industry. They just don't know. So walking them through every step and asking the question every step of the haircut obviously alleviates my guesswork, but it also instills confidence and my ability to give them exactly what they're asking for. So this dude that I cut Friday, he's like, bro, no one's ever asked me this many questions about like my haircut. It sounds crazy because it's literally just a beard lineup, but he's bald, has just a beard. So there's a couple options when it comes to, let's say, what would be sideburns, right? Some people leave these pointy, some people fade them out. He could want the fade super low, he could want to keep the fade super high. Mustache, he could want it super thin, he could want to leave it full, he could not want to touch it at all. I've had clients that don't want straight razors on the top of their beard, they only want to use clippers because it either irritates them or they like a more, natural looking beard. They don't want the hard lines, right? Some people keep this area full, some people actually shape it up, or some people want a V here, some people want this gone. So asking all of these questions is going to guide both sides to the end result in a more effective way, intentionally. It's not being done by accident. He didn't say, hey, I just want a beard lined up. He sat down on my chair and I just lined up his beard the way I thought to be best, and voila, I guessed my way to the perfect result, or I guessed my way to something he didn't want in any fucking way, right? So intent is going to get you way further in anything when it comes to wanting an end result from what it is you want produced. Reverse engineer whatever it is you're trying to do to make the end result as easy and seamless as possible. That's it.